The Social Network just opened yesterday, and it's already being called the Film of the Year by Rolling Stone. It tells the conflicting stories behind Facebook's creation and the struggle of the young men who founded it.
The movie was written by Aaron Sorkin, whose remarkable body of work includes The American President, Charlie Wilson's War, and the hit TV series The West Wing. Aaron Sorkin joins us this morning for Early Coffee. Aaron, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Before we start, I tried to friend you on Facebook. You haven't responded yet, so what's the deal with that before we start things here?
I'm not on Facebook. I'm sorry. We can friend each other in real life, though. Okay, I'm your friend. It's official.
How do you write a movie like this, though? Because you're not on Facebook. And
no,
how are you not?
Listen, when I signed up for this, I didn't know anything about Facebook. I wasn't on Facebook. I'd barely heard of Facebook. I'd heard of Facebook the way I've heard of a carburetor, but I can't pop the hood of my car and point to it and tell you what it does. And that should tell you that you do not need to be on Facebook or love Facebook or need to be a tech geek to enjoy this movie. This movie is for everybody.
You also, in the process of going through and creating the characters, you didn't really have contact with Mark Zuckerberg, the lead character here.
No, we aggressively tried to get Mark's cooperation because I knew that I would be speaking to people who would have an axe to grind with Mark. So we wanted Mark to participate too. In the end, he did exactly what I would have done, and he declined to participate. But the research really fell into three categories. There's available research out there, stuff that you can get on the internet, like Mark's blogs, which become dramatized in the movie, cartons and cartons of legal documents, and then, as I said, the first-person research, talking to the people who were there, some of them who are portrayed in the movie, and most of whom spoke to me on the condition of anonymity.
If you had to say one thing that gave you the best appreciation for this nuanced character, what was it?
It's a really interesting question, but I'm not going to be able to say one thing. First of all, you should know in the house I grew up in, anybody who used one word when they could have used 10 just wasn't trying very hard. So, Mark is a very complicated guy. He's got an IQ of 7,000, and he's not just a programming genius. He's a creative genius, but he's also a very socially awkward guy, extremely shy. He's a guy with his nose pressed up against the glass of social life at college, and he just wanted to be accepted. I think that's something that all of us can relate to, and he invented something that he needed. He invented Facebook so that he could reinvent social life in a way where he could participate in it. You
were immediately sold on this project. From what I read, it took you about 3 pages to read the treatment.
That's right.
Okay, I am on this thing. Did you realize, though, I mean, from what critics are saying right now, and I think from having spoken with you before we went on the air here, this is kind of a movie of a generation here. Did you have any idea what you were stumbling upon?
No. When I write something, I write something. I try to write something that I like, that I think my friends will like, and that I think my father will like. And then I keep my fingers crossed that enough other people will like it that I can earn a living. Yeah. And in this case, it seems like a lot of people like it, and very, very much. The critical response, I think, has caught us all by surprise. It's been overwhelming. But more than that, we spent the last couple of weeks crisscrossing the country, stopping in college towns, and screening the movie there. The theater will be about 2/3 college students, and the other third they're professors. And both generations are responding to the movie exactly the same. A person who loves Facebook is on Facebook 5 times a day, and as a computer nerd is going to have the exact same experience as the person next to them who has never heard of Facebook and is afraid of technology. Women like the movie as much as men. We can't seem to locate a demographic that isn't responding well to the movie. It just seems to be speaking to everyone.
If being on Facebook just 5 times a day equates to being a nerd, I got a problem.
Well, I'm not on Facebook, but I did see the movie, and I loved it. And I also have heard that there may have been some responses from the White House because, of course, they have Larry Summers, or an individual who plays Larry Summers, the president of Harvard, appearing in the film.
Right. I got an email that the film was screened at the White House, and the president watched it along with some senior staffers. They liked the movie very much. It doesn't sound like they were taking time off from fixing the country to do it. It was very late on a Friday night that they screened it, but I think that they particularly liked it.
Just after a jobs conference or something like that.
That's right. But when this movie takes place, which is 2003, 2004, and then with some scenes flashing forward to 2006, Back in 2003, 2004, Larry Summers was the president of Harvard, and now, of course, he's the president's chief economic advisor.
Let me ask you, back to Zuckerberg for a second. There's been some conflicting reports that he has seen it, that he hasn't seen it. How do you think he's going to feel he is portrayed in this movie? Accurately, or, I mean, I know he keeps saying total fiction, but we know that's probably not true.
Yeah, the movie is not fiction. The movie's been thoroughly sourced. Let me speak to that first. What happened was 2 separate lawsuits were brought against Facebook at roughly the same time. The defendant, the plaintiffs, the witnesses, they all walked into the deposition rooms, they all swore out an oath, and they ended up telling 3 very different versions of the story. So I, in writing the movie, instead of picking one and deciding that's the truth, I'm going to run with that, or picking one and deciding that's the sexiest, I'm going to run with that, I really liked that there were 3 conflicting versions of the story. So I wanted to kind of do it as Rashomon. The movie doesn't take a position on who's telling the truth, on who's right, who's wrong, who's good, or who's bad. As far as Mark goes, listen, my biggest concern is the audience, the people who aren't Mark. But I understand why you're asking the question. I don't think any of us would want a movie written about the things we did when we were 19 years old. Yeah. So I can understand if Mark isn't the first one in line at the theater.
Can you appreciate that? I mean, you're brilliant in your own right, but can you appreciate the brilliance of this kid, of what he was able to do, and now this is now a 500.
I can
billions of people.
Absolutely appreciate it. I can't come close to understanding it or recognizing it. It seems like a different being. You mentioned that that Facebook has 500 million people. If it were a country, it would be the 3rd biggest country in the world. It's a phenomenon what he did. He did it when he was 19. He's only 26 now. He's the youngest billionaire in the world. And he reinvented the way people socialize and did it for people like himself who are just more comfortable in the solitude of their own room, kind of inventing a character for themselves, just like I do. Listen, I would love for people to think that I'm as smart and clever and folksy as Martin Sheen on The West Wing. So I get that. I empathize with Mark. Yeah.
Speaking of The West Wing, of course, you have this huge body of work behind you, other than just The Social Network. How do you think, in the grand scheme of things, this project compares to your previous projects?
You know, that's something like with kids. I never like doing. I've loved everything that I've been involved with, but I tend to be most in love with the thing that I'm doing right now. So The Social Network is the thing that's on my mind. I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of, our director, David Fincher, who would have loved to have been here right now, is in Sweden shooting The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
It's tough life.
Yeah,
yes.
It's too bad he really didn't go on to do anything better.
I love the group of people that I got to work with, and I loved what we all did together.
Any, when you look back, not to bring a down note on this, any disappointments? I mean, were there any times when Sports Night was critically acclaimed and that kind of got canceled a little bit early? Sunset Strip, which was good, again, wasn't received like you'd wanted.
Yeah, I suppose in the moment, if you'd asked me that question back then, I would have said, yeah, I wish Studio 60 was going on for another season. But when I look back at these things, I only have a good feeling left about them. I loved Sports Night for 2 years. I love Studio 60. Also, I have a much different definition of success. Where I cut my teeth, which was right here in New York, if you got 75 people into a church basement in Soho on a Friday night to see your one-act play, that meant you were sold out. So to me, an audience of 5 million, which a network considers low, that's a very satisfying audience for me as a writer.
And speaking of those one-act plays, you wanted to be an actor in the beginning.
Yeah,
and you found a way into The Social Network too.
That was because Fincher put a gun to my head and said, "You're playing this guy." But I did. When I was much younger in school, I was in all the school plays, and then I studied theater in college. But when I came to New York, I tried for the first time just writing for pleasure, writing for something other than a chore to be gotten through for a school assignment, and what I was writing was dialogue. And I felt a confidence with it that I'd never felt with acting. I was a pretty cocky actor too. But my parents, growing up, my parents took me to see plays starting from a very early age. And often they took me to see plays that I was too young to understand, like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf when I was 8 years old, plays I had no business being at. So I wouldn't understand the story, I wouldn't understand what was going on up there, but I loved the sound of dialogue. It sounded like music to me, and I wanted to imitate that sound.
Well, we have one final question for you. If you had an opportunity to pick some people to have early coffee with, who would they be?
Do they have to be alive?
Nope. Anyone in the world.
Okay, then I'll take Mark Twain. I'll take Patty Chayefsky, Abraham Lincoln. I mean, I might like to pick Moses.
Sure, we'll bring the addition into the table. You can open it up to as many people as you like. The Last Supper, whatever you like.
I'll take Moses.
We'll make a casserole.
And all I want to do is, in your beautiful introduction, I just want to correct you. I am not the producer of the film. Scott Rudin is, and he is one of the. No. It's just that
you wrote the screenplay.
I did. I wrote the movie, but Scott is not just one of the best producers, both Broadway and film producers alive. He is one of the best producers ever, and he's really the man to thank for this movie. He was the engine behind it.
Right. Well, we thank you for being with us this morning.
It was my pleasure.
We really
Thanks a
appreciate
lot.
it. Great to see you, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Aaron Sorkin. And you can see the entire interview with Aaron on our website, cbsnews.com/Saturday.